So this video I'm going to cover the routing diagram or the routing of the hoses that the supercharger uses, and I'm going to be following the new updated one that TRD released. So this is the original one that you would find on the OEM installation manual guide, whatever you want to call it. This is for the Camry and this is for the Avalon. Well, you can see right here for what it is. Basically, it's about the same, just a little bit differences right here. You would run the updated one, which was released on 09, 05, 01. And so we're going to be running it this way. Minor differences, you can see that these have been blocked off, and obviously now they're not. So we're just going to be running it this way. If you guys want a picture of this, I'm going to go ahead and probably put a link in the description to somewhere where you could view these images. But in case you want to pause the video and just look at them, I will go ahead and let you guys do that. So let's go ahead and right there. That might be my thumbnail. So basically these two diagrams, the one on the left is if you want to run the supercharger without a boost controller, and the one on the right is with a boost controller. So the purpose of the boost controller is so that it cuts off boost at a certain RPM and it doesn't do any damage. More towards red line. And you can run it without it. It's not necessary, but obviously you're going to have boost or pressure in between shifts, which is this one, which is a updated supplement. Data that is what I'm going to be running, since I do have the boost controller that came with the TRD Supercharger from the vehicle. So we're going to route it up this way. Vacuum from the TRD Supercharger out the back into the T, into the vacuum chamber, to the sensor. This one goes out to the rail, back into that sensor. So basically, right there, goes out. It goes out, and then I use the step down right here to go to a thinner hose, and then to this T right here. One side going into the vacuum chamber, and then coming out, it goes out into this rail, which basically goes like that into the sensor. And at the T, that goes into that same sensor, which has this cap right there, and you would want to take it off. So the next one we're going to be connecting is from the vacuum switching valve. Follow that hose, or follow that line I should say, to the back of the bypass actuator. So now let's show you in real person here. Right here from the back, we have the hose, and then I believe we installed a step down from the big one to the small one. And if we follow that hose right here, follow me, goes back into the VSV solenoid. So next I'm going to route the Evap, which is starting from here from the rail. It's right there. And you want to make sure you use a fuel line from, I got these from AutoZone, a bunch of them. There's a part number for it, Gates. If that's not the part number, I'll make sure to put it in the screen. But that one goes from right here from the top, routed it underneath into the rail right here. Make sure it's a fuel line, people. And for the EGR, when we disconnect it, you're not going to have enough room to unplug the connector. So what we did was unscrew these nuts, and now it gives us enough angle to unplug it. So if it was down, you wouldn't be able to plug anything in, which is why we loosened it. So for the next one, it's an Egr hose that goes to the VOT, to this right here. And in the diagram, they make it look a lot longer than what it really is. But right here in real life, it's a lot shorter. So right here from the Egr hose to the VOT and into this right here. So it's a lot shorter. They just made it look a lot longer in the diagram to help out. So you want to make sure you extend the hoses a bit longer, because the bulge on the supercharger makes it kind of in the way. So we ended up extending the hoses so that we could tuck it to the side, and that way we can install the engine cover and it hides it. So from the intake manifold, we come down to the Egr modulator to the S port, which is what I did over here. Just route it underneath. Right there. S. So when you go to the junkyard, make sure you grab a lot of this type of hose. I usually grab them from the vacuum chamber since they are very, very long. And I grab like 3 or 4 of those, and I use them for this type of situation where I gotta cut and make my own length. And when you're cutting them, make sure at the ends of the ends you cut a little bit off, so that way when you put it in, it creates a new seal and it's not like expanded, if that makes sense. You're cutting off what's expanded and putting in something thinner. So this is a perfect example right here. You can see how the end, it's expanded out. It took shape of the solenoid. So what we're going to do is cut the ends off so that it has a new shape. So that way it slides on tight. With this side, it would just slip out really easy, but because I'm cutting the end off, it'll stay in. So maybe Toyota did it on purpose, I don't know, but they forgot to label these 3 ports. So I have already labeled them right here: vent, air cleaner, and fuel tank. And we're gonna come over here to show you where exactly they go to. So vent from here is this one, and it just goes down to the air. And then we have the loop right here, which shows right there, and the air cleaner right here, which is this very small line right here, goes back into the intake right here. And then this line right here goes into the rail, those metal rails we have right here. So this is just for video purposes, just so I could show you guys, but this hose goes loop right here into the rail. So this one goes to the sensor right here, there, and then right here goes to the pressure sensor, and then back into the canister. And then the last one, this big one, goes to the fuel return, right? Or
no, it's a vent,
fuel vent.
Fuel vent line, right?
Fuel evap vent. It goes back into the fuel evap vent. Recap what I was able to do today. I was able to finish up the power steering system. Remember that? Because I do. What else did I get to install? The hoses for the power steering, this new setup. I tightened the pulley for the power steering pump. So as I said, this is not the way we're going to leave everything. We're going to install this underneath the battery location, or the bracket for the battery tray, and make it look nice, make it look presentable. You want to open the hood and see a supercharger setup. Not this concoction here. Look at this. Ew. So we're going to try to run everything tight with each other and run some zip ties so it doesn't look like a spaghetti bowl, or bowl of spaghetti. Bracket is installed for the Evap canister. We mounted it down here. Sorry for the glare of the sun, but gives you a general idea.